data that's going to start coming in is going to be astonishing, right? The part I love most about this is that Bell and Rogers will be demolished forever. Right? but besides that, it's, yeah, I mean, science, it's a very excellent point. And it's a real problem. There's a website called The Next 3B. And Facebook, if you go searching, they talk about it. Everyone is exactly on board with what you're saying. And we're going to need educators, a new type of education, new type of clinician, online. Right? So I don't know, science literacy has to go up. I mean, me trying to explain the intricacies of machine learning, I mean, you guys are a bunch of extremely smart people. And yeah, we're going to have to do calculus first. And no, but I mean, but in general what it is, yes, I agree. We need public figures that are going to be able to educate.
I think patient involvement in the healthcare is, I mean, it's a fact already in many subfields. Especially, so I work in the field of rare disease, and there patients are very involved.
Yeah.
There's nothing like telling a patient, you're the only one that we know of with this disease. And it's like, okay, so there must be others. They go and they search. There are multiple success stories now of patients finding other cases of the same rare disease online through Facebook posts, blog posts, whatnot. There are portals which are coming online for patients to connect. Sort of, you may have heard of Patients Like Me as an example, but actually it's a bad one, I would say, because that one really, targets specific things for very specific commercial purposes, as opposed to really having an interest, the building of communities around even undiagnosed cases of rare disease. And there's nobody more dedicated to researching health issues than a mother with a kid who has who has something that is intractable, and there's no clear way forward. So it's we're seeing this all the time. We're seeing patients becoming very active, and patients contributing to data sets using tools. At the end of the day, they know the phenotype of their kid better than their doctor does, because they're with that kid. They're looking at everything all the time. On the other hand, it has to be tempered against the few hypochondriacs who think they have every single disease known to mankind and create a lot of noise on the internet. So it's there needs to be some balance there.
Hi, I'm Sabrina, and I think it's really interesting. You guys are talking about lots of different types of data, but one of the things that I'm not sure how much it alluded to is the data that patients generate themselves, not even from wearables, but just from using their phones. So I think one example would be say Ginger.io, and they're I think trying to predict depression and bipolar, looking at say how withdrawn people are from their social networks, so how much are they using Facebook. And so just given the importance of potentially this data and predicting diseases, I'm wondering to what extent each of your technologies are taking into account and making space for that type of data.
That's a great example, because people are. This goes back to Kai's example where people are creating data without actually having to do anything themselves. I mean, another great example, which is now offline, was the Google Flu Trends. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where basically Google would predict the incidence of flu by how often people search for various queries in different regions. So you'd imagine if there's a flu around, what are symptoms of a flu? Google search was going to go up in a specific region. So in our case, it's a great point, but we haven't really thought about that as much. But
yeah, I don't have a good answer for you. I have a colleague at UC Irvine who has done some work with depression, and a lot of the work that they've done tries to pull in as much different data as possible. One of the biggest issues is, of course, not all users use the same sets of apps and that kind of stuff, right? And so that's always the hardest issue that a lot of these researchers face.
And these private organizations that are collecting this data, they're looking at doing this. They're I mean, from my perspective, they're hiring mathematicians and computer scientists and statisticians to make sense out of the data, and they sell their data. They sell to pharma companies, and they're trying to build models. So it's cool.
Question in the back.
Hi, just following up on that, I'm Twyla, by the way, Amy, and I've been reading, Pasquale, the Black Box Society, and Lions, surveillance, big data, and use of algorithms, and how that impacts our society. And one of the arguments Pasquale makes is that we require, society needs to think through how big data systems, big data techniques, and use of algorithms is impacting our freedoms, how we function in society. And one of the suggestions is we need to think through policies, public policy on how we move forward on designing and developing these systems and algorithms. And my question for you is, have you had any thoughts about how these future scenarios might be impacted by policy designers and policy thinkers? And do we need solid policy thinking on regulating how we move forward with use of big data, not only in healthcare, but particularly connecting it to social data and across industries?
So, you guys hear of Mark Cuban? What's the name of that show? Shark Tank, is that it? Okay. Mark, he's very interested in this in terms of privacy. So he's invested a lot of money in companies that do the social networking thing, but destroy the information very quickly, right? So you're allowed to have a presence on the internet, on this web, and it vanishes, right? He's really concerned with that. So there are investors who are already looking at policies, number one. Number two, I think that I have an 8-year-old daughter, and her notion of privacy is very different than ours. And I think that's going to alter, I think that's going to be the thing, the zeitgeist of that generation. Like our notion of what we are and how isolated we are in this world, how private we are, this is going to vanish. But it's dangerous, right? There's a lot of danger there, and that's why people like Mark Cuban and other visionaries are seeing this. And also, I mean, from a far-fetched perspective, there's a bunch of people in the AI community who believe there should be policies in place. So this is an exaggerated, but just to show you where things are going, that that there should be groups of people, ethics boards, that implement restrictions. I mean, should we allow AI to service food at a restaurant? How many jobs are you going to be removing? And ultimately, what we just heard about in the newspaper, Ontario is going to introduce a minimum, right, a minimum amount of money that we all get. All of us are going to get a minimum amount of money, possibly. And this is going to influence us in a massive way. And this is going to liberate us, but it has to be done in the right way. And it's going to take care of a lot of the policies that are going to surround this big data thing that you're suggesting. So that, I think it's happening. People are actually really thinking about it. And so do I. I mean, there's real consequences to my ability to build things that can read your Twitter, and I can know things about you that you might not want to. And also, the consequences of some of these technologies, they're getting very smart. They're getting very intelligent. I mean, there's going to be basic jobs, truck drivers. I mean, self-driving cars are a reality, guys. It's going to happen. Uber has this vision, for real. I mean, I said it here, and don't, you can laugh at me, but the TTC, just thank God when it vanishes, right, in replacement. Anyway, sorry. As a subway user.
So Joseph's against Rogers.
He's living in a disrupted world.
That's right, that's right.
So I want to thank our three presenters. That was a terrific, three presentations and a really interesting conversation.
Before they disappear, there's one act that I have the pleasure of doing on behalf of Massey Grand Rounds, which is the protective umbrella that really should be demonstrated from front to present to the chairs and the speakers. I want to just show it here just for comment worthy, but this is Massey Grand Rounds with the logo, you see?
Awesome.
I will bring good luck to everybody because I opened it indoors. And we'll give this demo to the chair. Thank you for its great contribution. Thank you very much. Great, thank you. Great meeting.
We also have thank you cards from the co-chairs. And thank you. Dr. Toole. Yeah, thank you. And we're just gonna wrap up. Yeah. So, and the party, yeah. So thank you all for coming. This was a really wonderful day. Those were really interesting comments. We'd also like to thank a few other people. So first and foremost, Julia, for providing us with video of the whole day, which will be available on YouTube once we edit it down and cut it and everything. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
An umbrella for you. Second of all, we'd like to thank Millen. Is Millen still here? Yeah. Hi, there you are. So Millen's been taking snaps all day. I thought you noticed, maybe, hopefully. So thank you, Millen, for providing photos of the day, and we'll also post those online. So thanks. Second, I'd like to thank Tom from Concrete Designs. He was the one that provided the poster and the brochure today. Very wonderful, very professional looking. We'd also like to thank Kelly and Darlene from Massey for booking the space, setting up the room, as well as all the audio equipment. So thanks to them. We'd like to thank Christina. Christina. Christina, thank you so much for all your administrative help. She's And finally, Bobby, Dr. Angel, we'd like to thank you, and we actually made you a little something special since it is the 10th year.
Wow.
Come on up. Let me just make this real quick video. So some antique medical items, as well as just a little token of thanks for the past 10 years.
I believe it. These are old opium bottles?
Oh, it's poison. That's the liniment bottle. Why not?
Well, thank you.
We went on an adventure to Parkdale with Patrick.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
no, thank you. And here's just a little thank you.
Oh, good.
So again,
Canadian Tire?
no. And new chapters.
Well, that's such a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, we just want to thank you for all your work, being
Yeah.
a mentor to Massey Grand Rounds the past 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working
Thank you,
with you.
thank
So, yeah,
Much appreciated. We have a wall for it too. I know
excellent.
it. That's marvelous.
So, I guess that concludes the day. We have cake in the JCR.
Yes, dufflets, lemon,
Fancy
chiffon.
cake. So please join us in the JCR right now, I guess. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.